What if you tried to plug a volcano with a giant cork? Volcanoes are nature's pressure valves. They hiss, rumble, and occasionally blow their tops in ways that would make a teapot blush. But suppose, in an act of supreme engineering optimism, or cinematic hubris, humanity decided to plug a volcano. Not with rocks, not with concrete, but with a giant cork. Yes, a comically oversized wine bottle-style cork. Big brown, probably with grooves. The kind of thing you'd expect Paul Bunyan to use after a long night out. Let's assume you're doing this with good intentions. Maybe you're trying to stop an eruption. Maybe you just watched one too many cartoons. Either way, you assemble your team of corkologists and fly the massive plug to the mouth of, say, Mount Etna. It's hissing, rumbling, and glowing ominously, like a dragon with indigestion. Your plan? Hammer that sucker in like you're sealing the world's most dangerous champagne bottle. First challenge, scale. The average volcanic crater can be hundreds of meters wide. That's not a cork, it's a building. You'd need cranes the size of Eiffel Towers, a helicopter fleet, and probably a NASA-grade PR team to explain what you're doing to the public. Let's say you somehow pull it off. The cork is in. The volcano stops smoking. For a few hours, there's an eerie silence. The villagers nearby cheer, hold up signs saying, "Thanks, science," and start selling cork-shaped souvenirs. The scientists are less excited, because they understand what you've just done is the geological equivalent of putting a lid on a boiling pot and sitting on it. Volcanoes erupt because pressure builds up under the surface. Hot magma rises, gases expand, and eventually the Earth gives in to the inevitable. Boom. By plugging the top, you've delayed the boom, but made it way more explosive. It's like saying, let's ignore this pressure cooker for another 10 minutes, right before it redecorates your kitchen in lentils. Inside the volcano, gases continue to accumulate. Pressure builds. The magma chamber swells like a balloon in a microwave. Seismic activity increases. Scientists start holding daily press conferences with phrases like unprecedented instability and please evacuate now. Then comes the moment. The cork creaks. It shifts slightly. A low hum rolls out across the landscape like a giant holding in a sneeze. And then, boom. The cork launches into the stratosphere like a champagne cork on New Year's Eve, only instead of confetti and cheers, it's followed by pyroclastic flows and a mushroom cloud of ash. The eruption is bigger than it would have been naturally, because all that pressure had nowhere to go, for days, maybe weeks. The cork itself becomes a legend. Some say it landed in the ocean. Others claim it punched a hole in the ozone layer. A few conspiracy theorists insist it was abducted by aliens who mistook it for interplanetary debris. Regardless, the message is clear. You don't argue with geology using kitchen tools. Now let's say we tried to refine the idea. What if, instead of cork, we used some super material? Something engineered to expand, absorb pressure, maybe even contain the eruption. Would it work? Probably not. Volcanoes are not leaky faucets, they're tectonic expressions of planetary heat regulation. Blocking a vent doesn't stop the process, it just redirects it. Pressure would find another path, cracks, fissures, weak spots miles away. You could end up creating a new eruption site in someone's backyard. Hey Karen, the backyard barbecue pit's glowing again. There's also the small matter of ethics. Would plugging a volcano interfere with geothermal cycles, with local ecosystems? Could it cause larger tectonic consequences? Imagine stopping one eruption only to trigger a series of earthquakes 100 miles away. Nature has a way of balancing its books. Unfortunately, we're often the footnotes. That said, the idea of a giant cork plugging a volcano is undeniably compelling. It's the kind of image that sticks in the mind. A quiet mountain, an enormous cork sticking out like an ill-fitting hat, and a bunch of scientists in hard hats nervously consulting clipboards. And perhaps somewhere in a parallel universe, the idea worked. The cork stayed in. The pressure cooled over time. The volcano slumbered, and the cork itself became a monument, a giant, ridiculous triumph of human confidence over common sense. Tourists flocked to see it. Kids climbed it like a jungle gym. Souvenir shops sold miniature cork keychains and foam hats. And every year, on the anniversary of Plug Day, people toasted to the time we tried to stop nature with a bottle stopper. And somehow, just barely, got away with it. But here, in this universe, if you ask a volcanologist what happens when you try to cork a volcano, they'll probably just sigh, close their laptop, and mutter, "Let's not uncork that conversation again."